trance of our Divine Mother. It is with the confidence of a child that our heart implores the Divine. With my love and blessings, says our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, Sri Aurobindo was not compelled to leave his body. He chose to do so for reasons so sublime that they are beyond the reach of human mentality. To grieve is an insult to Sri Aurobindo, who is here with us, conscious and alive. We must not be believered by appearances. Sri Aurobindo has not left us. Sri Aurobindo is here, as living and as present as ever. And it is left to us to realize his work with all the sincerity, eagerness, and concentration necessary, says our Divine Mother. People do not know what a tremendous sacrifice Sri Aurobindo has made for the world. About a year ago, while I was discussing things, I remarked that I felt like leaving this body of mine. Sri Aurobindo spoke out in a very firm tone, "No, this can never be. If necessary for this transformation, I might go. You will have to fulfill the yoga of supramental descent and transformation." Our Divine Mother says, "Lord, we are upon earth to accomplish thy work of transformation. It is our sole will, our sole preoccupation. Grant that it may be our sole occupation and that all our actions may help us towards this single goal." We stand in the presence of Him who has sacrificed His physical life in order to help more fully His work of transformation. He is always with us, aware of what we are doing, of all our thoughts, all our feelings, all our actions. When I asked Sri Aurobindo on December 6, 1950, says our Divine Mother, to resuscitate his body, Sri Aurobindo clearly answered, "I have left this body purposefully. I will not take it back. I shall manifest again in the first supramental body built in the supramental way." Our Divine Mother says Sri Aurobindo has given up his body in an act of supreme unselfishness, renouncing the realization in his own body to hasten the hour of the collective realization. Surely, if the earth were more responsive, this would not have been necessary. Our Divine Mother has given this prayer and marked on the Samadhi. To thee who has been the material envelope of our Master, to thee our infinite gratitude. Before thee who has done so much for us, who has worked, struggled, suffered, hoped, endured so much. Before thee who has willed all, attempted all, prepared, achieved all for us. Before thee we bow down and implore that we may never forget, even for a moment, all we owe to thee. 2 hours after Sri Aurobindo's passing, our Divine Mother announced the news to the ashram inmates at 3:30 a.m. on 5th December. The news spread quickly and was flashed at once all over the world. Sri Aurobindo's body was to lie in state till noon, and the ashram gates were to be thrown open to enable all to pay their homage to the Mahayogi. While Pondicherry was stunned by the news, the sadhaks were overwhelmed by a sudden sense of desolation. It was as though a fathomless zero was flung across the world. Leaders and servants who had known Sri Aurobindo and those who had only followed his career from a distance or merely read his works, all were equally shaken by the news that came over the air in the morning. The President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, said in the course of the statement that he issued, India will worship and enshrine his memory and place him in the pantheon of its greatest seers and prophets. Sri Aurobindo's disciples and close associates, of course, could hardly recover from the impact of the event and formulate their reactions. The last 3 lines were one of the 3 passages dictated last by Sri Aurobindo as additions to Savitri. Surendranath Jauhar states, a few months after passing away of Sri Aurobindo, when I first went for seeing the Divine Mother, she said, now I can meet your problems and answer your questions more easily than before. I asked how. The Divine Mother said, previously, whenever there was a problem, I had to go to Sri Aurobindo to consult him. But now, Sri Aurobindo is sitting in me. Wherever you ask any question and there is a problem, I just refer to Sri Aurobindo and instantly get the answer which I convey to you. Satprem stated, I would like very much to ask you something. Why did he have to go? For this, our Divine Mother says that can't be told. I can tell you why, but in a purely superficial way, because for him to do immediately without leaving his body, that is what he had to do well. We can put it this way, the world was not ready, but to tell you the truth, it was the totality of things around him that was not ready. So when he saw this, I only understood this afterwards. He saw that it would go much faster if he were not there. And he was absolutely right. It was true. Once I saw that, I accepted. When I saw that, says our Divine Mother, when he made me understand, I accepted. Otherwise, there was a difficult period. It wasn't long, but it was difficult. When he left, I said, 12 days, 12 days. And truly, I gave it 12 days. 12 days to see if the entire work outwardly, I said, after 12 days, I will tell you if the ashram was nothing but a symbol, of course, if the ashram will continue or if it is finished. And later, I don't know, it didn't take 12 days. I said that on December 9th and on the 12th, it was all decided, seen and clear and understood. On the 12th, I saw a few people. However, we began all the activities only after 12 days from December 5th. But it was decided on the 12th. Everything was left hanging until the moment he made me understand the complete thing in its entirety. But that's for later on. He himself will tell you it's true later on. A Divine Mother says to Supreme in 1960, "You see, I am doing the sadhana really along a path that has never been trod by anyone. Sri Aurobindo did it in principle, but he gave the charge of doing it in the body to me." That was the wonderful thing when we were together and all these hostile forces were fighting. He saved me from the hostile forces in absolutely miraculous and marvelous way. But you see, this seemed to create a very great, boldly difficulties for him. And I told him, if one of us must go, I wanted that it should be me. "It can't be you," he replied, "because you alone can do the material thing." And that was all. He said nothing more. He forbade me to leave my body. That's all. It's absolutely forbidden, he said. You can't, you must remain. After that, this took place in 1950. He gradually, you see, he let himself fall ill, for he knew quite well that should he say, "I must go," I wouldn't have obeyed him. I would have gone. For according to the way I felt, he was much more indispensable than I. But he saw the matter from the outer side, and he knew that I had the power to leave my body at will. So he didn't say a thing. He didn't say a thing right to the very last minute. Our Divine Mother says to Satprem in 1969, when Sri Aurobindo left, I was standing near his bed. Later on, when he was alone, when there was no one left, and all the supramental force he had concentrated in his body, what was left in his body, he passed on to me. I stood near his bed. He had been declared dead. But all that supramental consciousness which was there came out of his body, slowly and directly entered mine. It was so material that I felt the friction of the force everywhere, all through, but it was slightly luminous. That was something different than with Paritra. As for Sri Aurobindo, I found him all the way up. I found him everywhere, absolute one with the supreme consciousness. I found him spread about in many places to see many people and do a lot of work. And I found him, but then in a precise form, though not fixed, a precise, rather supple form that looked like him, like what we knew of him, with more suppleness, without the fixity of the physical, but quite precise, a form in his likeness, quite in his likeness. I found him in the subtle physical. There, says our Divine Mother, there he was dwelling, he is settled, and stays permanently, which does not prevent him from being at many other places. But there is a Sri Aurobindo there, whom I see almost every night, who looks after the whole work, sees people, and who is constantly with me in the subtle physical. It is a specific place and very large, huge, He's there seeing people doing all kinds of things.
वह समीधिरे प्रतनासयूते सहस्कृत पुरुषचन्द्रं यजतं विश्वधायसं दमूनसं गृहपतिं वरेण्यं त्वामग्नीयतिथिं पूर्व्यं विशः शुचिष्केशं गृहपतिं निषेदिरे बृहत्केतुं पुरूरूपं धनस्पृतं सुशर्माणं स्ववसं जरद्विषं त्वामग्ने मानुषीरीरते विशोहोत्राविदं विविचिमिरत्नधातमं गुहासन्तं सुभगविश्वदर्शकं त्वेष्वनसं सुययं घृतश्रियम्.
On December 5th, 1950, at 1:20 a.m., Sri Aurobindo left his physical body. Nirod Baran has written that by the morning of the 5th December, the entire body of Sri Aurobindo was seen to be suffused with a golden crimson hue, so fresh, so magnificent, lifting us from the pall of gloom to a mute wonder. This supramental light remained for 5 days at a stretch, and many people witnessed the magnificent and unique phenomenon. No yogi dies in the ordinary meaning of the word. His consciousness always exceeds the formula of the physical body. He is beyond and greater than his material sheath, even while he inhabits it, and his action on mankind is essentially through his free and ample spirit, to which both life and death are small masks of a fully aware immortality in the limitless being of the divine and eternal.